Good day, good people of the interwebs. Now, I have to admit, I didn't really know what I was going to do today. I mean, the week has been rather dreadful for me, and no, don't worry, it's not COVID, but I do have asthma, I do have hay fever, and if you then have a temperature in the Netherlands of about 24, 25 degrees at times, with extreme high humidity, I'm feeling like crap. Other than that, I'm really looking forward to tonight. Now, I didn't have anything prepared, I have to admit, but Ludicrous Leprechaun was kind enough to give me some good takes. So we're going to talk about those. And hi there, Ludicrous. Well, he's not here yet, sorry. Hi there, Real Raven. Hi there, Michael Keller. And hi there, Morris. I hope, Morris, you're feeling better after your second jab, mate. But the worst is after the back. Well, but I'm glad that the worst is behind you, mate. I really am. That Gracia link looks juicy. Yes, that's where I'm going to start. Sorry, hiccup. I am going to give Ludicrous a few minutes to see if he will join me. He wasn't sure. Well, actually, he had to eat and all that, which makes perfect sense because let's be honest, we all have to eat from time to time. Thank you for sharing that ADR link, Real Raven. In all fairness, I knew about that one as well. I mean, we've got 12,000 people that have died in basically combined with the vaccines. But funny enough, when you die after you got given the vaccine, you don't die because of the vaccine. You die because you had other health issues. But if you die because how do you call it? You have a heart condition and you accidentally also had a little bit of COVID, then you actually are being counted as a COVID death. It's kind of funny. I'm not going to do too much about it, but in the Netherlands there have already been several how do you call them court cases where people are combating doctors claiming that their parents died of COVID when the real reason was clearly something else. It's interesting that it once again proves that something being counted as COVID is more a convenient thing than a factual thing. But not what I wanted to talk about today. I feast on negativity, that's why I'm overweight. I wouldn't know that, though I do like to feast. And I'm overweight too. Oh man. So yeah, there is this reason why I didn't want to talk about COVID or the COVID vaccines once again, because it upsets me, it makes me unhappy. The amount of cognitive dissonance in the world is scary, which is, by the way, going to be a topic really soon. I'm reading up more on cognitive dissonance. I kind of tend to know a little bit about it already, but I'm reading up on it more to prove or explain how the mass psychosis we are in now is partly to be blamed on cognitive dissonance. And that cognitive dissonance is being fed by, well, both our media and our politicians, but also by our willingness to do everything we can to be considered goodmensch. Now, the term goodmensch is a very old one, so I assume people know what it means. But if you don't, a goodmensch is someone who pretends to do good and pretends to be a perfect human being, whilst realizing that maybe that's not really that true. But people being good mensch isn't a negative marker on them. I mean, we all try to be decent human beings, don't you know? Now, what today we're going to talk about, I've got two links from Ludicrous. I put them in the chat already, so if you haven't seen them yet, you can probably scroll up for the people that are just joining us. And for the people watching this later, yeah, I'm sorry, the links are in the chat, so yeah, there you go. And I was planning on waiting for Ludacris to join me, but that might be a little bit longer than I had anticipated. So let's just get started. Come on, let me put this right. See, I'm not really that good today. My right arm isn't really functioning well. I'm probably getting old and all that. Anyway, so we're going to show you the first of the two articles. This is the Grazia one. Here we go. CBeebies, a children program from BBC, is teaching children about racism. It's vital, and the reaction to Ben Kaji's segment on being mixed race proves why. So they're teaching children on racism, and the reaction someone gets is the reason why it's important to be doing that. The negativity just proves it's still needed. Okay, so this is the dude in question. I have to admit, I haven't really looked at Ben Kaji. I don't watch CBBC that often. Hell, I don't even watch television for the last very long time. And this presenter has made headlines because he made a discussion on him being mixed race, hoping to educate the 0 to 6 year old audience on race and identity. I don't have to tell anyone right now that children between the age of 0 to 6 really aren't interested in the concept of ethnicity or identity. I'll try not to use the word race because it's utter stupidity to use race in this case. Why? Because Ben, where he might be of a mixed heritage or mixed ethnicity, is of the same race as everyone else on this bloody planet. I really get, annoyed by the constant postmodernistic way of doing this. Oh no, we're different races. We are. No, well, what race are you then? Are you not Homo sapiens sapiens? Yeah, but my father was black. Okay, wasn't your father a Homo sapiens sapiens? Yes. Well, then he wasn't a different race. He was a different ethnicity. Now, I understand people don't think of it like that. And obviously, if no one educates people, then those people will never really learn. The only thing that really sets us apart is not our ethnicity, it's our culture. And in all fairness, and I'm going to continue on this, but it seems that both your mother and your father are roughly from the same culture. So his ethnicity may be different. Who cares? But let's start. Yeah, let's look into the article a little bit better. You know what? I'm not going to, because the next lines of text you're going to see are from the video I'm going to share. And this is probably going to get this video whatevered, but who cares? Okay, this is Ben talking to the good children watching.
We've been friends for a really, really long time, so I thought to tell you a little bit about me and my family.
Okay, so they've been friends for a really long time. Now, I know that children seem to look up to television personalities. Hell, I know adults do. But considering them friends... Now, I never had that problem. I never considered any TV personality a friend of mine. Someone I'd like to listen to, perhaps. Someone who I enjoyed listening to, for sure. But a friend? I doubt a lot of children or adults would indeed see him as a friend. But you know what? That's something I'm willing to let slide. I mean, it's kind of, how do you call it? Overvaluing your situation. But yeah, I assume he means well. So let's continue.
My mum is called Fiona, and she was born near Coventry, and she is white. My dad is called Jacob. He was born in London, and he is black.
Okay, now I didn't see the image that well. Jacob was born in London, and he was darker skinned. I wouldn't call him black. I mean, if we're talking about black, we're talking about people from Nigeria. That's black. This man was brown. Plenty of brown diversions there are. I mean, he could have been brown Indian, he could have been brown Jamaican, he could have been brown South African. I don't know. They're all different cultures. They're all different ethnicities. By the way, they're not a different race. But sure, your mother and your father, both born in the UK, both loving each other, got together, and you are the proof of their love. I have nothing but respect for that. I seriously do. I'm not really sure where you're going with this though, so let's continue.
Now, as you know, my name is Benjamin, but pretty much everyone calls me Ben. I was born in Ipswich, and I'm mixed race, and I'm really, really proud of that.
See, a lot of people are mixed ethnicity. Hi there, Davey. And how do I know that a lot of people are mixed ethnicity? Because, hell, a lot of people are, and we don't even stop to think about it. For example, my father was Italian, my mother was Dutch. My wife is Polish. I'm mixed race Dutch Italian. Our son is mixed race Dutch Italian Polish. And that's about it. Now, okay, that's one example, but there are more examples. Surely everyone knows someone within their direct circle of friends that has mixed ethnicity in their background, especially in the UK, because the empire was all about mixing for a very long time. It wasn't stopping people from knowing each other. I mean, segregation laws were in America a long time ago and South Africa a long time ago, but I can't remember when they were in the UK, or indeed in the Netherlands, or in most European countries. But fair enough, you're of mixed, how do you call it? Ethnicity. Fair enough. And I did hear someone joining me, I think.
Yeah,
yes.
sorry.
Hi there, Ludicrous. Welcome for joining us.
Yeah.
I was starting with the Grazia article with Ben Kaji.
Yes.
And I was showing people the Twitter video that was with it. So you should be able to hear it, even though I can't show it to you via Discord. You want us to continue, or do you want to bring up something before I continue?
No, go ahead. Join. I just had to rush out and grab some food before
Yes,
everything.
well, food is indeed very important. Let's not regret the moments that we need to eat. So, yeah. Anyway, here we go. Why don't I
Now, there are loads of things I get from my dad, like supporting West Ham United Football Club.
Aw, you gotta be joking me. Anyway, he supports Man United because his dad is a Man U fan. See, I have no problem with that. Do you, by the way, Ludicrous?
No, I never have any problem with people supporting football clubs. I just see it as pointless myself.
But would you admit that it would be possible for someone of a different ethnicity than standard British would be a fan of Man U?
Yeah, there's loads of Irish people who are Man U fans.
No. Really?
You wouldn't believe it, yeah.
Oh, how dare they? They're not British. Then again,
No.
Man U is English, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, is English British? I think it is, by the way, but I did a London video some time ago where a girl was talking about how English was definitely not British. Yeah, I'm not making that up, by the way.
Well, oikers will oik.
Anywho, let's see if the video will go on a bit more.
My dark and curly hair when it gets longer, and a really...
Oh, such a shame. You know what? I'm going to stop with the video because it's not really going to work. But it's basically what he said here. I was born in Ipswich, I'm mixed race, and I'm really proud of that. And starts talking about what he got from his mum and what he got from his dad, which is perfectly normal. I mean, I've got things from my mum, I've got things from my dad. My dad being Italian, my mum Dutch. My son, Eirik, got things from me and from my wife. What a surprise. That's how procreation works. I don't understand why people give thoughts of this as an example of being of a different race. It really pisses me off. I'm sorry, guys, you're just a different ethnicity. I know it's not as glamorous as it might sound, but what's the problem with being of a different ethnicity? I'm curious how you look at that, by the way, because you too are in a mixed ethnicity relationship, aren't you?
Yeah, Polish Pixie and I get along well together. I've never had any problems or clashes with people of different ethnicities. The only problems I have is whenever they start complaining how they have it worse than everyone else.
Yeah,
for some reason.
That's true, but isn't that basically the human condition? Isn't that a human thing to do, like complain about how good or bad off you are?
Well, yeah, but to blame other ethnicities for your state of being...
True that. Anyway, let's continue about this story, because this... you know what? I'm going to give it another try.
Bendy toe. And there are other things that I get from my mum, like
I don't understand this. Okay.
my love of music, the fact I'm always on time,
must
and
be a
something
jinx.
you might know.
So the thing I found funny, and I'm going to stop it because I'm not going to try again. But the one thing one of the things he got from his mum was his ability to always be on time.
Isn't that white?
I mean, being on time is not a bad thing, but why did he get that from his mum? And for example, I mean, it was worthy enough to actually get it mentioned. Oh yeah, well, isn't that a stereotype though? Well, it's a black man. He time. Yeah, forget about that. Or is that just me oversimplifying the situation?
Hard to say. I've never met his dad.
Well, yeah, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. Hi there, Paolo, by the way. And hi there, Davey. Now, the next part was really interesting, because the segment has proven popular with parents, with Kaji being praised for attempting to explore the topic of race with children. All he said was that his father was of color and his mother was not. I'm not really sure how that's exploring ethnicities. I'm sorry, I know they keep using the word race, but I'm seriously not going to do that. And after the resurgence of Black Lives Matter over the summer, one of the key takeaways from the protests and campaigns alike was that there is not enough education around race and racism in schools and beyond. Again, ethnicity and discrimination. I mean,
Yeah.
isn't he himself the one who said that he learned to be on time from his mother?
Yes, so he's discriminating against his dad then?
I would say so. And then apparently someone responded in a way that the woke didn't like. So I'm going to scroll right down to the tweet in question. And Angel de la Guardia, could be Irish, couldn't it?
De La Guardia?
Yeah? No?
No, it's more like Spanish.
Well, yeah, that too. True. I'm thinking about it though. I mean, if she's indeed Spanish, that means she's not white British.
No, she's a Latina. Or
Latino. Well, whatever. She's Latin. I don't know. One of them. I'm not going to say Latinx because I've been told they find it very offensive.
you wouldn't want to offend them, would you?
No, far from me. Anyway, she makes a very... I think it's a... Well, Angel could be a boy as well, couldn't it? Anyway, Angel makes a really good point. Why is my 2-year-old being taught about race? He's not being taught about race, he's being taught about ethnicity. When I was 2, it was never entered my mind. Only in the last, let's say, 10 years has everything come down to what skin tone you are and not about your personality. In all fairness, seems like a bloody fair, how do you call it? Point?
Yeah, I mean, like, it was back in the 80s whenever Paul McCartney was singing Ebony and Ivory with, what was his name?
Yeah, good. I can't remember either. Yeah, I really can't remember. But then Pamela has to weigh in as well. Back in the 80s, my then 3-year-old brother first learned about racism from his racist grandmother, discrimination from his discriminatory grandmother. She told him black people were yucky. This is a much better way to learn. I'm sorry, but if your brother is, according to you, a black person.
Well, she doesn't make that clear.
No, she doesn't really, you're right.
All she says is that her 3-year-old brother was told black people were that way. She didn't bring up the race of her brother or grandmother.
No, yeah, you're right. I assumed. This is my bad. You're completely correct. Thank you. But how weird is it that Pamela remembers something that happened in the 80s? Something that her... Sorry?
40 years ago.
Something that her grandmother may have said to her brother.
Well, she wasn't there. She's only relating it, so...
Well, maybe she was there. But even if she was there, I mean, how did this story go? I mean, her 3-year-old brother is playing with... what do 3-year-olds play with? Probably that.
It was still in the advertising then for Hartley's Jam.
True that. Nobody cared about back then.
No.
But anyway, he's playing with his or with cars, toy cars. Let's be safe on this one. He's playing with toy cars, and his grandmother walks in and says, "Listen, lad, you gotta know this. You really gotta know. Black people are just yucky." I have the feeling that that's not how it would have gone. But I have no clue as how it would have gone.
Well, it could be a complete misrelaying of something else.
Well, there is that.
It might not even be about black people. It might have been about something, coming up from the coal mine, and says, "Oh yeah, that guy's coming up from the coal mine," and she says, "Oh, that guy's dirty."
Yeah, that's also possible. But I simply do not understand why is my 2-year-old being brought up about ethnicity because he's too young? A good comeuppance on that one, or a good comeback on that one is, "Oh, well, my grandmother did it to my 3-year-old brother." How is that a good reply, or a good counter-argument?
Well, it's a straw man, kind of, isn't it? Look at this thing over here.
Well, yeah, but it's even funnier than that. I mean, it's a straw man that doesn't even make sense. Because the question is not whether the 2-year-old, or in this case the 3-year-old, was actually learning from his mother, or grandmother, sorry. The question is, does a 3-year-old care?
Well, do you know who else was a 3-year-old?
No, I'm sorry. Well, my son has been 3 years old, obviously.
Hitler.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Wow, the Overton window closed fast on that one. But I mean, my son, when he was 3 years old, he played with all the kids. The color of the kids didn't interest him at all. To be honest, he's now 5 and he still plays with all ethnicities in the neighborhood. Kids don't look at things like that. The problem that sets the The thing that sets us aside is not our skin color. I have mentioned this quite a few times. It's our culture. But you're never meant to say that. No. How can I educate my child about racism? It's not racism, you communist bastards. Stop with the terms of the communists. But then they have 10 books for different ages to make you try your child to be aware.
Well, I mean, like, if they want to make their child racist, they have to start at a young age.
Maybe that's it. Well, that's what critical race theory is, though. It's using everything you can to create racism.
Look at Milo Young.
Well, that's weird, though. I don't understand this. Anyway, let's go to the different books of Vashti Harrison. There's a bunch of them from her, by the way. I've scrolled through this one. So, Dream Big, Little Leader. What can you tell me about these 3 little leaders? No?
They all look like they're asleep.
Well, yeah, that too. Maybe that's not on by accident.
They're not woke.
Or maybe that's not by accident. Maybe you have to keep your eyes closed to not realize this shit. But none of them
are woke.
None of them are woke. Well, maybe. But none of them look like the average European or person from the UK. So basically, the little leaders all have a skin color, apparently. How is this not segregating based on ethnicity? I mean, I can understand how you can't put every ethnicity in one image, but you could at least put a few different ethnicities in, right?
Yeah, well, you don't want to give white supremacy any leeway, do you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this one is I don't care so much. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to be negative about this one. I love to see a father and his child. I do. And if that father happens to be of color, you know what? I still love it. I think children need fathers in their life. So that's a good thing. I also know that this is not standard within certain cultures within Europe. But yeah, I'm totally happy to see that one. I'm not even going to talk further. And if I then look at this one, look up. That's one girl looking up with her cat. You know what? This one, I don't really care either. Shouldn't black girls aspire to be astronauts? Of course they should. They should be aspiring to whatever they think they want to be doing. Then we go to... Sorry?
Well, we would not want to hold them back, would we?
No, not at all. Not at all. This is, by the way, the first image that is, in a way, somewhat inclusive. We have 3 kids here, 2 of them girl, one of them assumably a boy. I mean, I'm going to say a boy. Yeah, I don't do...
You assumed.
Yeah, well, fair enough. And this is the first image where one of the 3 kids is indeed a white girl. So, you know what? This one, to me, the image anyway, I haven't read the book, obviously, isn't so silly. I mean, if I compare this one to this one, which one of the two is more inclusive? Which one of the two is more inclusive and open for the different ethnicities? This one or this one?
Well, I'd say the Agent Saiba Investigates is more likely to exist than a spaceman from Sub-Saharan Africa.
Well, yeah, that too, but that's not what I meant. I mean, this one, you can at least see different ethnicities. Now, obviously, the image with the girl alone, this one, yeah, there's only one person. So could it have been a black person? Yeah, sure, why not? The same with this one, it's a father with a child. It's not all fathers and all children, so could it have been a person of color? Yeah, sure, no problem with that one. This talks about Dream Big, Little Leader, and apparently only black girls, I assume, can be little leaders. I have somewhat of an issue with that one. Let's continue though.
They all look like they're high in that thing. The little leader thing, they just look like they're on Prozac.
This one is also kind of funny. Meet 52 black heroes from past and present. Young, gifted, and black. And then Josephine Barker. I can't remember the story of Josephine Barker anymore. There was a story about her, and it wasn't that good a story, to be honest.
Baker or Backer? I think it might be Baker.
Baker, yeah.
Yes, and we all know Nelson Mandela, that communist terrorist.
He was an actual he murdered people. Literally murdered people. It's kind of like saying, oh yeah, Che Guevara, yeah, he's a good guy. No. Now, Josephine, if I gotta look it up now, because that's how I can't remember now. I mean, don't get me wrong. She did something. What was it? She was a singer or something. Can't remember. She was an. She did something.
No, I never see.
I think she did something during the war, but I can't remember. Not in a negative way, mind you. Not in a negative way. I mean, she's someone you could say, okay, yeah.
American-born French entertainer, French resistance agent. Oh yeah, she was the French resistance.
Yeah.
I think she was the one who got into bed with the Nazis and then got all the information from them, then killed them or something like that. But I can't remember.
But anyway, what she did, you could say, was for the greater good, but it's not something you want to tell your children about. Or at least that's how I see it. I mean, you can talk about her, how she was a famous movie star and whatnot, sure. But that's not what got her real fame. And I'm sorry, Nelson Mandela. I really hate it when people show me him. I mean, he's a prime example of how not to be a good person. And I'm sorry. Little leaders, exceptional man in black history. How is this not inherently segregating? If you want to talk about exceptional man in history, sure.
Well, it just seems like tokenism and patting themselves on the back or patting people of color on the back. Well done, congratulations. You have 52 inspirational black people compared to the white population, which is a minority compared to the black, which has maybe.
Well, yeah, globally the white
times.
Globally, the white ethnicity is indeed a minority. It's out of all the minorities, it's the smallest one actually.
Yeah, but we could probably name more than 52 white people who are exceptional, inspirational.
Oh, true.
We could probably put a list together in 10 minutes.
I could name a lot of black people too, I guess.
No,
they won't be on the list that they name. I mean, I'm sorry, I can name black people who would be ashamed, actually angered to be on the same list as Nelson Mandela. And they'd be right. Anyway, high-rise mystery about a boy and a girl, both of them black. Yeah, sure, why not? Now, this is the most interesting one that I'm going to show you people. And after this one, I'm going to probably stop with this.
Oh, hang on. So before you move on, about the high-rise mystery thing. A British murder mystery, two young detectives, Nick and Nora, who are determined to solve a murder.
Yeah.
But they're part of the 6%. So what are the odds?
Well, I mean, whose murder are they willing to uncover? But listen,
is it 650?
I'm more than willing to believe that even in black communities, black cultural groups, black ethnicity groups in the UK, there are a lot of kids who would rather identify as a police officer than a criminal. I'm willing to believe that. I really am.
Oh, I know. I'm just entertaining the crowds.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, the next one. This book is anti-racist. 20 lessons on how to wake up, take action, and do the work. By Tiffany Jewell and Aurelia Durand. And then I look at the images, and then from the left top to the right bottom, a black dude, a black either dude or a girl, a brown girl, a Chinese girl, a brown girl and a Chinese girl, a brown girl and a brown girl.
I find these depictions actually a little bit more racist than they actually think.
A little bit more racist. I mean, the brown guy on the top, he's a typical black kid, you know, baseball cap backwards, sneakers, whatever. The first brownish girls could be a Latina girl sitting in a strange pose. The
Twerking.
it is, sorry?
Twerking.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it implying something? So yeah,
Hard to
there is
say.
that. Now this one, raw and gripping, a New York Times bestseller, Dear Martin. I have no idea. A captivating novel. Told with letters to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As Martin tries to gather his thoughts. Yeah, you know what? I have no problem with that. I can understand that people of a different ethnicity will have a difficulty understanding life in a country dominated by people of other ethnicities. So, a child looking for ways to figure out things work, I can only applaud that. How that's anti-racism, I have no idea. Because there are white kids that want to understand the society they live in as well. And then there is this, the black flamingo.
No, that is racist because flamingos are definitely not black.
I'd almost think it's more than just racist. Anyway, so how weird is that? This is how we are supposed to understand. How do you call it?
Well,
How
you shouldn't,
black-
you shouldn't judge someone because they have an attraction to other species.
Well, yeah, I don't even want to think. Oh, hiccup. I don't even want to think about how a person would want to be intimate with flamingos. Somehow, bestiality is not something I look forward to. Is the guy who found out about the blood types in the book too? I'm not quite sure what you mean with that one, by the way, Michael.
Well, there is a genetic component to being drunk. Certain ethnicities are more prone to alcohol, the effects of alcohol. Like they have a specific gene that they're missing to process the alcohol.
Yeah.
And so, like for example, Asians can get drunker quicker because they lack this specific gene compared to other ethnicities.
Yeah, and not all ethnicities are capable of dealing with milk.
No, lactose intolerance, and then
Yeah.
there's a sickle cell.
Yeah, there are actually certain afflictions that tend to corner the market in certain ethnicities. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen outside of those ethnicities, but it's far less uncommon.
More uncommon.
Yeah. Far more uncommon. See, it's Saturday night and I am really not that great. I started the stream today talking about how I wasn't feeling that great. because with my asthma and my hay fever and the high temperature and the high air humidity, I'm pretty much broken the last few days.
I've been tempted to put on a separate breathing apparatus.
Yeah, that definitely that. Well, let's go to something else that you showed us. How Denmark is passing a law to deal with the asylum situation in a different way.
Oh yes, I think lots of the viewers, all three of them, will be will be interested in this one.
But what I found funny on this one is that it's, I mean, people are pretending that this is a huge deal, but Denmark a few years ago basically told asylum seekers that they had to pay for their own stay. So, yeah, it's nasty and all that, but if you have wealth, you hand it back to the Danish government and you could earn it back. Well, you didn't hand it back. You hand it to the Danish government and you could earn it back. And then Europe fell about that. Oh, how dare you do this? And now Denmark passes a law to process asylum seekers outside of Europe. And again, the European Union is ablaze with anger. The funny thing is, though, you know which party did this in Denmark?
Was it the left-wing party, wasn't it?
It was, or rather it is. It's the Social Democrats. Because they realize that if you have a welfare state, and the amount of people paying into that welfare state becoming less and less and less and less, and the amount of people taking out of that welfare state becoming more and more and more and more, pretty soon you will have one of two things. Civil war, well, actually, two of two things. Civil war and no more welfare state. And it's not nice of me to say, but it is unfortunate, the reality. This is a problem in most European countries. Why are people so upset with foreigners? Because they have the feeling that they get but do not contribute. One could argue whether that's justified or not, but one cannot argue that this is the case.
Well, let's see.
On Thursday, Denmark passed a law enabling it to process asylum seekers outside of Europe, drawing anger from human rights advocates, the United Nations and the European Commission. The wealthy Scandinavian nation, which has gained notoriety for its hardline immigration policies over the last decade, passed a law with 70 lawmakers voting in favor and 24 against. So you could say it has quite a bit of democratic support. Don't you find it interesting? Sorry, go on.
Just a bit.
But don't you find it interesting that the European Commission is basically telling yet another European country, oi, where do you go off trying to make up your own mind? I mean, this is the problem they have with Poland and Hungary for the last few years.
Yeah, you're not one of the hive. You're not acting as part of the hive mind. Get back in line.
I don't understand that people don't still recognize this. I mean, we don't live in a free Europe. We live in a communistic Europe. We are all part.
Well, you do.
Well, yeah, I do. I forgot which side of Ireland you were on. I'm sorry, mate.
That's okay.
Where was I? The legislation will complicate the European Union's effort to overhaul Europeans' fragmented migration and asylum rules and extreme divisive subject within the bloc. Now, in all fairness, the reason why we have an extreme divisive European Union when it comes to migration is because we didn't have an agreement on what was acceptable and not. We had old rules, and then Germany opened its borders and basically opened the floods from immigrants from all over the world, well, mostly the Middle East and Africa. And somehow they realized, shit, this is going to be too much. And then they said, well, Europe, you need to help. And somehow, countries not dancing to the tune of Germany are, how do you call them? Renegade countries. Almost as if a certain event happening halfway the century prior didn't end the way people thought it ended.
They're non-conforming.
I mean, now I've mentioned this in the past in several live streams, and I even made a video about it. There used to be a Fort Europa, because the outer borders of the continent were highly protected. We didn't want people sneaking in without permission. And now Denmark is saying, you know what? I don't want them sneaking in without my permission. If they need our help, you know what? Even if they get to this country, I'll put them on a plane, get them to somewhere safe, and there we're going to look at the way of their asylum request, if they can stay with us, yes or no.
Yes, unlike in the UK where the illegal immigrants are bussed over or boated over and then demand 4-star hotel.
Yeah. That was actually a topic I was thinking about doing, but I decided against it. How they basically burned down their how do you call
Detention center.
No, it wasn't a detention center. They were living in
Accommodation.
Yeah, and these accommodations were army barracks, if I'm not mistaken, and they burned them down because it wasn't to their liking. I don't understand this.
That might explain why they were refugees in the first place. But I don't know.
Well, yeah, if you're going to burn down your own housing, then there might be something wrong with you. I mean, I could be wrong, but there might be something wrong with you if you start burning down your own house. Even if it is a temporary house.
Well, it might not have been the first time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've said this many a time before. If refugee seekers come to your country, break the law, you put them in jail, because that's where lawbreakers go, and once the sentence is over, you put them on a plane. You don't give them a chance to do that again. I mean, seriously. I like this one, though. Denmark already has one of Europe's harshest stances on immigration and, aims to only accept refugees under the UN quota system. And I'm like, Denmark already has one of the harshest? How about Poland? How about Hungary? It's always the ones that say, you know what, I want to take care of my own country first, that are being portrayed as a negative one. Oh, you're so harsh. You're so harsh. Well, maybe that is true, but in all fairness, why shouldn't they be harsh?
I noticed they haven't said anything about the Spanish army driving refugees into the sea.
Well, not in this article, obviously. I mean, they don't talk about Poland or Hungary either. I mean, now the story is, look at how bad Denmark is. It's kind of like the AstraZeneca thing. When people talk about AstraZeneca, it's a terrible vaccine. But if you then look at all the other vaccines, which have equally or even worse side effects, then again, it's hard to go worse than death. And they have these side effects more often. People forgot that we knew this until they started talking about AstraZeneca, because Europe wanted more AstraZeneca and they didn't get it. It's a traditional portraying of. No, it's not so much moving the goalpost as using a red herring. Oh, there's nothing to see on this side. You have to look over there because that's where we say the problem is.
Well, one confusing thing is why is the EU still suing AstraZeneca despite saying that their vaccine doesn't work and rejecting it?
But trust me, as soon as they win, AstraZeneca is back on the menu, baby. I mean, seriously, indeed. I mean, if it's so dangerous, why would they sue to get more? And to say that that doesn't make sense is completely overestimating what the word sense means. Anyway, Denmark already has one of Europe's harshest stances on immigration and aims to only accept refugees under the UN quota system. But shouldn't all of Europe work with that system? Because that's the system we all agreed on using?
Well, technically, yes, but you're expecting politicians to agree to technicalities?
I mean, the new law will allow Denmark to move refugees arriving on Danish soil to asylum centers in a partner country to have their case reviewed and to possibly obtain protection in that country. And I'm like, I don't want to be rude, but according to the UN, a refugee will have to apply for asylum in the first safe country they enter.
Yeah, Denmark.
Yeah, I would just wanted to say, I don't think that there are lots of refugees coming to Denmark from Poland or Germany. Because I think those are the two countries next to it, aren't they?
Denmark is well, I think there's one or two other countries beside it.
Well, yes, Sweden and Norway, but you have to get over the water for that
across the Bosphorus, yeah, across the water, but it's not that far.
True, true.
What's that other one? Tallinn in there's Estonia. I think Estonia is close to Denmark as well.
I will take your word for it. I wouldn't know, to be honest. I haven't looked into it. But I'm pretty sure Morocco isn't one of the countries close to Denmark. Nor is Syria. Nor is... how long does the list need to go?
Pakistan.
Well, for example, yeah. So, according to the UN quota system, we can take up refugees that apply for refugee in their own country and then get allowed into our country. Or you will apply for, how do you call it? Asylum in the first safe country you reach. And Denmark can never be the first safe country you reach. So if you apply for asylum in Denmark, you know that you will be sent back to a country outside of Europe. And therefore we hope that people will stop seeking asylum in Denmark. Which makes it a perfectly fine thing to do. I mean, they don't want you there. For whatever reason. But you will then be sent to another country where you will be safe. Because that's what Denmark promised you. So Denmark is still paying for it, but just not in Denmark. In all fairness, there are lots of voices in Europe going on about this. It's cheaper, more effective, and more humane to house people closer to their own culture than in Europe. And in all fairness, if one of the things we should have learned from the corona pandemic is that people with a slight skin color shouldn't live in white European countries because there the sun doesn't give them enough vitamin D and they are more likely to die from infections and diseases like corona. Or is that too soon?
Well, yeah, you did hear that there's some people are speculating that COVID was actually designed to be racist.
Yeah, but how?
Because one of the human cell lines that was used to generate or to make it more infectious against humans, this is the allegation, was from an immortalized cell line from a black person.
So it would be more effective against people with high melanin in their skin.
Well, that's the
Ongoing
that's,
theory.
that's the conspiracy theory.
Well, I wouldn't know. But it doesn't make sense though, because it seems that countries like no, maybe because Brazil seems to be hit pretty hard as well. So that could be true then. Though I think Brazil got hit pretty hard because it's poor people with terrible living conditions that got hit pretty hard. But I know in the Netherlands most of the people dying from COVID were either really old or of a different ethnicity than Dutch. But then again, I mean, that makes sense because if you don't have a really light skin, hell, even if you do have a really light skin, you're going to be struggling to get enough vitamin D from our sun. And if you don't have enough vitamin D in your body has a harder time dealing with infections because vitamin D strengthens your immune system.
Yes, it's a catch-22 situation. Which could be solved by something straightforward, but if you say it, then you're a racist.
Well, I mean, yeah, let them live in Rwanda, for example. Not that Rwanda is that great a place, but if you can make a safe space there.
Is
Or,
Liberia
hell,
still relatively stable?
and in all fairness, I mean, they're talking about how Denmark is racist for doing this. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. I'm not even going to bother reading it, but you can guys read it if you want. But if Denmark is so racist for trying to do this, how is the deal that Europe made with Turkey not racist in the very same way? We're paying Turkey to keep asylum seekers from Syria in their own country, not let them go to Greece. Is that not equally as racist?
It's hard to say. Some people see it as humane.
Well, yeah, obviously. I personally think it's humane as well. But now that it's going to Rwanda, for example, it's racist. What makes Rwanda worse than Turkey? It seems to me that these people don't like Rwanda because it's mostly black people there, doesn't it?
Yeah, but there are still several stable countries in North Africa.
Sure. Morocco being one of them.
I don't hear anything happening in Tunisia.
Tunisia had some hubbub a few years ago. I mean, with the Arab Spring and all that. But the Arab Spring never reached Morocco. So Morocco seems pretty safe. And it's a huge country compared to the amount of people living there. So they must have room.
What was that place I was thinking of? It's, Morocco's. You get a nice place by the sea if you're lucky, and
Yeah. I'm going to stop with the article, by the way.
okay.
I mean, the last bit I want to say, the number of refugees seeking asylum in Denmark has dropped just over 1,500 applicants last year to a peak of more than 21,000 in 2015. So they used to have around 21,000 asylum seekers a year. Denmark isn't a big country. You can't have that sort of influx every year for a prolonged period of time. So yeah, I understand Denmark, and I agree with Poland and Hungary that we should limit the amount of refugees coming to our countries. It's a good thing that we want to help them, but at a certain point in time we have to admit, hiccup. At a certain point in time we have to admit that what we're doing isn't helping. I don't understand why people are unwilling to
Sometimes
realize that.
Sometimes the best way to help is to not do anything at all. And I know it sounds harsh, but sometimes you can't do anything literally because you're stuck in a situation where it's just going to make things worse no matter what you do.
And that's somewhat annoying. But I have good news for the world as well. The last few months, April and May, in the Netherlands at least, but this is true for most of Europe, have been colder than the previous years. So we don't have to worry about global warming anymore. Well, then again, we still might.
Now, that won't stop them worrying. It'll just kind of say, oh, well, we did so much last year. Let's do it all again. More lockdown.
Well, I saw a politician in the Netherlands talk about this not too long ago. Apparently, and I have to look into this, Rockefeller had a post in 2010, and a book or a story or whatever, and in that he more or less predicted what happened in the last 2 years in Europe, how it would play out, not when, but how. And he also predicted that once the viral lockdowns were a thing, we're no longer going to do viral lockdowns, we're going to do environmental lockdowns. And people are already talking that they should have stopping the traffic around the world for the environment. I mean, there are already voices going up, not demanding, but at least asking for that. How is this? How is this a good thing? I really can't, for the life of me. Anyways, I seem to have closed my YouTube window. So now the question is, can I get it back? I'm sorry, good people on the interwebs, if you can still hear me. I mean, I'm still broadcasting, so that shouldn't have changed. But I can't see what's going on in the chat.
Well, it's pretty quiet at the minute. Michael Keller is saying that they've had 20,000, I think, refugees in Switzerland last year. Average 25k for the past 20 years.
It's still working, but this is not the page I need to be in. So how do I get to...
Open another tab.
It's... How do I open the live stream? Because I am live now. I can watch the video from that point of view, but I can't seem to go to... This is annoying. Annoying. Annoying it is. Where are you? YouTube Studio. Studio. Oh no. That's quite stupid of me. I don't know how I did it, but I somehow destroyed... There we go. Should be even... Ah, yes. It should... Yes, it's getting back now. I'm sorry, good people. I don't know how I closed that channel. Sorry, that how do you call it?
Link or...
Yeah, the tab page. But it's open again. Oh, all is well. I am sorry. 1 minute delay. Okay, well, that's not too bad. So, yes, I know I'm a boomer. Tch. Well, it's alright. I'm not sure if I'm a boomer, by the way. Can you click from your browser history? Yes, I should have done that. That would have been a lot easier. Thank you for the tip.
Davey, you don't want to go into Modbean's browser history. That's just asking for trouble.
No. No, I have good browser history. I have good browser history hygiene.
You delete it regularly.
So there is that. No, I was listening to a story and how Rockefeller had the whole pandemic more or less signed out, and this would take several years, and after this there would be environmental lockdown coming for a period of time until the people would wisen up and stood up and start kicking the politicians that basically fucked them over.
John's just popped in too.
Hey, hi there, John. Long time ago, mate. And it was not so much a technical difficulty because everything worked as was supposed to done. I just couldn't see the chat. So that's not really a technical difficulty, is it?
Well, technically.
And I don't have 100 tabs open, closer to 30, but okay, it's a little bit much, fair enough. I need to close a lot of them down because I haven't really made any video for a while now, and I have a lot of tabs open because I want to make videos from them, but I'm sorry, good people, but the weather is killing me and I can't be asked to do much. Anyway, do we have anything else we want to talk about?
Oh yes, I was going to tell you. I found out about the pronouns thing. There's new pronouns being made. So I thought I'd let you know. Yeah, I'd let you know about those. Apparently, if you're over 6'2", your pronouns are fee, fi, fo, and fum.
How the hell is that?
Oh yes, you've never seen Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah. I know the Giants, but how are those pronouns? I mean,
well, they'll work it in. It's the same for if you're under just about under 5 foot or 4.5 foot. Your pronouns are oompa, loompa, doompity, and do.
Right. Well, I've made a call about this a few years ago when they started, how do you call it? Fining people in New York for not using preferred pronouns. And I said back then, and I'll reiterate it now, my pronouns are master and master.
I thought your pronouns were the science.
Sorry?
I thought your pronouns were the science.
No, well, it was a great suggestion from you last time, but I chose not to use them because, I know people have to believe the science, but no, I still prefer the pronouns I've chosen. Don't you make fun of it, mate. I mean, I've thought long and hard about them. I mean, they really identify me. If you don't take them serious, that's hateful. Or something like that.
All you need is love.
Well.
Well, John, the subject for tonight, there was 2 stories we went through. Which one were they again? There was Denmark passing a law that they said they're going to process asylum seekers outside of Europe. And the other one was a weird story about the CBBS teaching children about racism is vital, and the reaction to the person who was teaching it shows why.
Yeah. I still found the CBBC program, the CBBS. People were upset that a guy wanted to teach between 0 and 6, about ethnical differences. I mean, you might as well talk about rocket science with 10-year-olds. I mean, it's interesting, but some of these things basically go over their head. I don't understand people. I mean, I know it's our planet and all that, but How long till people stand up and say, yeah, you know what, critical race theory is bollocks. It's destroying our society. Can we stop with this nonsense, please?
People are saying it, they're just not being shown by the media.
True that. Well, more people should be saying this, I think.
They are. That's the problem. The media's trying desperately to cover it up.
Yeah. It's weird though. I mean, the amount of cognitive dissonance in the Western world is really high. So many people, I mean, if you would ask them straight out, oh, would this be acceptable? Would that be acceptable? They would easily say, yeah, no, whatever. But as soon as ethnicity becomes part of the story, they don't know the answer anymore. As soon as religion comes part of the story, if it's Christianity, yeah, no worries, everything you say can go. But if it's any other religion, yeah, but you have to keep in mind that these people are what? They're retarded or something? But you can't say that because that's not nice.
The bigotry of low expectations.
Yeah.
You can't expect them to, have the same kind of morals as us. Therefore, we have to treat them differently.
Yeah, it's strange. Strange. It's really strange. I don't understand it. Yeah, anyway. And I've got a nice book from on Discord. Now, terrible with names, so I know that. Remote Ruby. Thank you, Remote Ruby. I haven't really looked into it yet, but it's not really a book. It's Engaging Men and Boys in Violence Prevention. That's interesting.
At least you won't be arrested for it.
Well, I haven't really read it. It's not the complete book. It's probably just, how do you call it?
A synopsis.
Yeah.
Summary. Yeah, but you did hear that story a few days ago about the guy in UK who was arrested because he had 3 books.
Yeah, and he'd been imprisoned for what, 4 years or something?
4 years plus 1 year's license.
For owning books that you're perfectly allowed to own, but they're wrong books anyway. I don't understand how people stand down but this is what I mean with cognitive dissonance. So many people hear this and they're like, yeah, well, but that's probably a good excuse for it. Oh, well, it's not nice, but it's probably understandable. There's a reason why so many people are seriously unhappy in our society. They are seriously thinking that there are monsters on every corner. This is what cognitive dissonance does with a person. I mean, you're perfectly able to lie away some of the things happening, but at a certain point in time, you're going to stumble over your own lies. And that's going to make you deeply unhappy. I don't understand the world. But then again, that must be me. That's not true. I kind of do understand the world. It's just weird that I don't understand. It's just weird that I can't see people standing up for this. I had a long talk yesterday with someone. It was an interesting talk about how he is going to get himself vaccinated. Not because he thinks he needs the vaccination, but just to get rid of the nonsense around it. Because once he's vaccinated, people won't be able to say, oh, wait, stop, I'm vaccinated. Stop your bitching with me. And I'm like, I understand him. But at the same time, he does understand that there are small risks to it. And he does understand that the whole COVID thing is bollocks. I mean, he's been through COVID. He's had it. So he knows he has antibodies. But nowadays, having antibodies from going through the sickness doesn't count. You have to get antibodies because of a vaccination. The World Health Organization actually changed the parameters on this one. Parameters.
Yeah, I mean, like, without divulging too much, there are certain contacts close to me that had the Fluhan. It was about 2 months ago, and but they're being still being forced to get the jab now, despite the fact that they went through it 2 months ago, recovered, and I don't know.
I mean, how stupid the stories are. In the Netherlands, for example, our minister or our previous minister of health and well, basically health. There have been pictures of him getting the flu shot. No, sorry, not the flu shot, the corona vaccine. Now you'd think that would be one picture, maybe two, because hey, one shot, maybe a second shot. But there are at least 3 pictures of him getting the COVID vaccine.
Oh, that's nothing. I heard about this woman who was cheering on there's a homeless guy in her area, and she was saying that she watched him be vaccinating himself for the fourth time that week.
Wow, how stupid are these people? And no, Michael, I didn't hear of people not being allowed to fly because of thrombosis risks. Makes sense, though, I guess. My mom and sister have. And you know what? I don't mind people getting the jab. If you get the jab and it works out great for you, I'm seriously happy for you. I'm not going to talk down to anyone getting the vaccine. I'm not going to take the vaccine, and it's not because I think it's so much dangerous or whatnot. Even if there would be no side effects, I still wouldn't get the vaccine because, you know what? I've had the disease. I have antibodies. And I haven't been taking the flu shot for the last 20 years as well. And considering my health situation, I am supposed to take it every year. I can't be asked though. But yeah, that's me.
Yes, I mean, like, obviously, people who want to take the vaccine, that's fine. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
We're not. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to talk you out of it. I'm just saying it's not for me.
Nope. And if you take the vaccine, I'm not wishing for you to get harmed. I'm not wishing for you to prove me right or blah 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 blah. I want you to live a healthy and long life after you've taken the vaccine. I will not go along. And hi there, Smirkers. Well, you are always welcome to join, mate. But today we are using the Discord because there are no hangouts. So if you can join us on Discord, you're more than welcome. My dad was vaccinated twice with Moderna. Retirement castle was on full lockdown whole month of May due to them having one heavy case after the other. Now that's something I've heard a lot as well. A lot of old people got vaccinated and pretty soon after the vaccination basically got sick.
Which is weird because it's not even an attenuated version of the virus. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's what they keep saying, but it doesn't make sense then, does it? Hi there, Smirkus.
Hello.
Long
Hi,
time no
Smirkus.
see, mate. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
Glad to hear that.
How are you guys?
Well, there have been days that I've done better. There have been days. I don't do well with the heat.
Oh, yeah.
I don't do well with the heat.
My depressions get so much worse when it's hot outside.
I believe that.
Like, it's not enough that I'm depressed. Now the weather is gonna depress me even more.
Uh,
You
where's
might want
the
to put.
link to
You might
Discord?
have put a link to Discord on chat.
I'm really crap with Discord. I mean, if someone can put the link up, that's perfectly fine. I'll see if I can find it, but... okay, this one.
Oh,
Copy. Let's see who's faster. I think this should be the link to Discord. Mwah. I'm not right. I'm not sure if it's the right one though. So if I fucked up, people, I'm sorry. But as far as I know, that's the link to join our Discord server. And if you want to join, you're more than welcome. And you can join us in the stream as well.
I think I got there quicker, but
Waha! It's good to see that my wife came to check it out as well.
Yo, is it on?
Hello there, William. Yes, yes.
Oh,
I didn't know it just turned on by itself.
It is now. Welcome joining us in our little hangout.
welcome
That's
to the
very cool.
party.
Well, I mean, listen, guys, if you have something you want to share with the rest of us, by all means.
I was just going to see what y'all were talking about, really.
Well, in all fairness, we've been talking about two things for about an hour. I mean, we're talking about the Danish ways of dealing with the
As illegal immigrants.
well, immigration as such. And we were talking about CBBC talking about mixed ethnicities as if it's a big deal to educate children between 0 and 6 years old.
What does ethnicity have to do with anything?
That's a very good question, and they didn't answer that.
They said it was
You're
very
teaching
important.
6 years old. Dude, what the fuck do they need to know about the world?
No, not 6 years old. 0 to 6 years old. So 3 years old.
Yeah, well, up to 6 years old.
Up to 6 year old. Yeah, it's stupidity in itself. I totally agree with you.
Well, one of the people complained that when in the 1980s, her then 3-year-old brother was told by her grandmother that black people were dirty, and so obviously that's the wrong way to find out about black people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, her grandmother was a racist, apparently. I don't know.
Well, how is that an everyone's issue?
That's a very good question.
Aren't you in school supposed to be taught, hey, we're all equal?
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing, though. Again, the cognitive dissonance is really a problem. Therefore, the people that believe in critical race theory cannot believe that we're all equal, because if they believe we're all equal, you can't talk about how some groups are better or worse than others. But the whole idea is that we have to pay attention to people of color more than people without color, because what? Are they different or are they equal? If they're equal, they don't deserve extra attention. If they are not equal, then yeah, sure, they deserve extra attention. But doesn't that then inherently prove how they're not equal? So yeah, there's quite of a bit of
Well, normally they go about it the wrong way in correcting it. They add something on instead of taking something off. They don't take away the barriers, but they add on something extra, specifically for that one part that they see as affected. And in the end up, it could just make things worse.
yeah.
Don't fix racism with more racism. I mean, come on. Have we not learned this yet?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Critical race theory kind of says that that's the only way to fix it, because obviously one must be good and therefore the other must be punished. Welcome back, William.
Yeah, I wanted to add something. Little quick.
Yeah, sure.
I think the whole thing about race fearing, that kind of stuff, it's kind of like, it's a mess. There are so many different kinds of ethnicities, not just black and white or yellow. It's
That's
like thousands of them.
That is
So
very
then
true.
people are like, this one is better, no, this one is worse, but they're not even the same.
I'm totally agreeing with you. Hell, in Europe we have a lot of different ethnicities as well. I mean, there are more different ethnicities in the continent of Africa than in the rest of the Europe. I wanted to say the rest of the world, but I'm not really sure about that one. But there are more different ethnicities in the continent of Africa than there are in Europe. Of that one, I'm 100% sure.
Yeah.
I mean, not every black man is of the same ethnicity.
And then there's also mixing of all of them.
Yeah.
So there's like infinite.
well, I wouldn't say infinite, but an awful lot. As
Almost.
I said earlier, I mean, I have a son who is partly Dutch, partly Italian, and partly Polish. I mean, how is he white? I mean,
It's a mystery. And who chooses?
yeah, well, the critical race theorist, the neo-Marxist, and it's unfair
I
to
have
call
the
them
right to choose.
yeah, and it's unfair to call them neo-Marxist because Marx himself would probably disagree with them furiously. But yeah, there is that.
Well, that was my 2 cents. Goodbye.
See you later.
See you later, mate.
Ciao.
I see that my wife is going to bed, which means she's going to pass the stairs in a moment. That's interesting for me. I'm gonna give her a kiss. Yay! So, Smirkus, how have you been doing, my friend?
The more and more I go deeper into Warhammer 40k lore, I'm just like, yes, I am a firm believer in the Imperial truth.
And I have to admit, Warhammer is pretty cool. It is.
Yeah. Quality, science, and galaxy conquest is the way to go.
Well, that's the thing for all empires. I mean, you need to expand for an empire to be successful.
I guess.
And in all fairness,
Any word on when the suicide mission to Mars is happening yet?
no, but eventually it'll happen. I'm pretty sure of that. I was hearing that they are post-Marxist, not neo-Marxist. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's a different name for, I think, the same thing, but you might be correct. I mean, I don't really like to call them Marxists to begin with, because this has nothing to do with what Marx was thinking of. But yeah, it grew out of his ideology. It's late to do big speeches, even for other people sleeping in the apartment. Yes, you don't want to wake people up, William. Shouldn't be doing that. Purge them? No.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Purge them with fire? No.
Purge them in righteous fire.
Well, I mean, that's only about the xenomorph. I mean, it's not about other humans.
Well, if you're a heretic, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, that's a good argument. I really liked it not too long ago. People started attacking role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons because orcs are obviously black people. And I'm like, how is that not inherently racist? If you're going to say, well, you can't play with orcs because, well, orcs are just a facsimile for black people. You can play a black person in D&D as well.
Kind of depends on which realms we're talking about, because in Lord of the Rings, orcs are corrupted elves, and in Warhammer 40k, they're like weird-ass space fungus.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, even in most fantasy games, orcs are a different race. But you still have different ethnicities of the human race in most of these fantasy games as well. You can play as a black man in most D&D games.
Oh yeah, sure.
So you can be a black man.
There's not a whole lot of rules on that.
Yeah.
Or woman.
Or a black woman, yeah, sure. See, that's the thing, though. I mean, back in the years of long time ago, I think it was Advanced D&D, but it could have been the original D&D as well. You could play male or female, and women would be shorter than men and would have less strength than men. I mean, they would actually have a penalty on strength, but they would have a bonus on charisma and a bonus on wisdom. Now, I don't know why they would have a bonus on wisdom, but you could play a male or a female, and there would be a difference in them.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden they changed that, and it never returned. I never understood that. I mean, I didn't care. But yeah, that was weird. No, it made sense. I mean, of course, you don't want to have a female warrior if you can have 2 male warriors and a female priest, for example. No, you want to have a female warrior. Yeah, but female warriors had less strength.
Yeah, don't make sense.
It would make sense.
Stat-wise, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, female priests, for example, because they have higher wisdom, would be better healers, which is also a little bit, how do you call it, built on prejudices, but it makes somewhat of a sense.
Whenever I think females and games, I have to think about that dumb meme. If your boyfriend asks you to play games with him, you are the most important person in his world. Also, he needs a healer.
I never saw that one before. That's a good one. That's a good one. And so, yes, more than 0. I mean, you can't have 0. I mean, if you played in the old style, you would always have a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 18. But if you could have bonuses, you could have a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 20. Because you compare your stats with 3 dice 6 dice 6-sided dice. So you throw 3 6-sided dice, and the number you get, that's the number you get. So with 3 6s, that would be 18. With 3 1s, that would be 3. So yeah. I've never played Resident Evil, so I wouldn't know that. But I didn't know that even in most computer play. I merely play as a healer. I've played everything in Dungeons and Dragons. I really used to like Dungeons and Dragons. It's a good way to keep the mind going and all that.
I never really played Dungeons and Dragons, to be honest.
No?
Nope. I got a whole rule book and everything once. It was all ready for it and just never played it.
Okay. It's a nice game to play. How about you, Ludicrous? You still with us?
Yeah, I'm right here.
How are you for fantasy role-playing games?
I've done just the computer games. I haven't done like Oblivion and Skyrim, but I haven't actually done the dice role-playing games.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Computer games is a whole different matter.
Yeah, real role-playing games are so much more fun than the computer games, to be honest. I mean, I hate it when computer games call themselves role-playing games because there's hardly any role-playing in them.
Oh, I know, but it just you need friends to be able to do the other kind of thing, and it's kind of a tough.
Yeah, I'd say we pretty accurately role-played the Vietnam War on Sundays.
Listen, I understand you really enjoyed the game. What is it, Arma 3?
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure if I would consider it role-playing.
Well, sometimes you hear stuff from the future. That's always fun. Hey, what's this Jessica Alba you're talking about? Never heard of her. Whatever.
There is that.
And of Brothers, never heard of it.
And 3 6s and you summon Slanesh. No, that's not D&D, mate. That's Warhammer. And that could be Warhammer Fantasy Battles, but that could also be Warhammer 40k. Fair is fair. But then again, I thought Warhammer role-playing game. Is that working on D6s?
I believe so, yeah.
I can't remember. I've played it once or twice, but no, I've played more tabletop with Warhammer. Well, obviously, I mean, the battles are what they were all good for.
I have a bunch of minis of fantasy. The Bretonnian army and a couple of 40k ones.
No, I don't have any 40k.
It's more of a painter than the player.
Okay, I have a small Bretonnian army. I can feel the 5,000 point Undead Army. Well, I'm not quite sure because the rules of the undead have changed. But I played in the old undead version, so you could have skeletons and mummies and how do you call those things? Vampires and necromancers. But later they changed the ruling. So there's now, I think there's a vampire count book and there's a mummy book. So there is that. But yeah, in the old my old undead army has never been beaten.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. I've even played once with a 2,000 point army against two people fielding 2,000 point armies. So that's 2,000 against 4,000. But somehow, magic makes a great deal in the undead army. If your magic works well, you're fucking massive. And if one of the two guys didn't bring a spellcaster with them, so they had absolutely nothing to stop me. That was killing part of them, raising their army as undead. That was really funny.
You use D6, but also D4, 10, 20, etc.
Oh, that's kind of like the D20 system of D&D then. Who knows? Maybe we should try that one day. Would anyone be interested in trying some D&D? No is an answer to, by the way.
Me? No.
Personally, it's not my thing, but Davey might like D&D.
And clerk is the best class. No, I would disagree. The best class to play is a mage. And then play him as a warrior. Or as an archer. Like a ranger. Done that quite a few times. That's funny. Mordheim is a fun game. Been playing that for a while as well. Well,
I don't know what to play at the moment. My library looks like so many games, nothing to play.
you know, I have the same feeling. I've been playing Fallout. What's it called? The free one. The free one.
76.
No. Oh, let me see.
Fallout Shelter or whatever.
Fallout Shelter. That's the one. I've got it on Steam. You're just playing against the computer, so you're not really playing, to be honest. It's something to get the day going. And I have been playing Mountain Blade 2 quite a bit, but I started playing Freeman again. I don't know if you guys know that song. Game.
Don't know that game. I've been starting to get into The Witcher.
Okay, The Witcher 2 I've played, I didn't like. Witcher 3 was pretty fun, and Witcher 1 was pretty fun. But I couldn't get the hang of Witcher 2. Never finished Witcher 3 though. I stopped playing after a while. It looks really cool though.
I think it has too many buttons, so I had to stop playing quite quick.
But it was the same with me in Oblivion and Skyrim. I played Oblivion up to a certain point and stopped playing it. Then Skyrim up to a certain point and then just stopped.
Oh, Skyrim! I've got so many hours in Skyrim. Let me see. Got where are you? The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. I've played more than 600 hours in that game.
I think I put in about 100 hours.
But I haven't played it for 2 years now. I mean, the last I played it is March 2019, according to what's this place called? Steam. Yeah, Steam. But then again, the game that I played the most is Dota 2. I've easily played 4,500 hours on that game.
Several games with like more than 3,000 hours in.
No, I don't know.
Almost 5,000.
Really? I don't have that many games. I mean, most games will
Path of
get
Exile didn't count my hours when I didn't have it on Steam, so who knows?
Yeah, fair point. No, I mean, I'm only checking because of Steam. But most games, I mean, most games are under 100 hours. There are a few games that reach a few hundred hours.
Yeah,
I don't know how many games I have that reach more than 1,000 hours. I think maybe one or two.
World of Warcraft religiously every day for it, so God knows how many hours I have in that.
And I'm trying to convince you all to play League of Leprechauns.
League of Leprechauns.
Is that an actual thing?
Not yet.
I made a video about it a couple of years ago.
Oh, we should look into it then. Anywho, guys, I'm not quite sure what we're rambling on about now. So,
It seemed like you really had a topic, so we ended up talking about games.
well, we had 2 topics and we finished those. And
Okay.
but talking about games is always a good thing as well. I mean, I haven't invited you for quite a while because I haven't invited anyone for quite a while, Smurkers. But you know you are always welcome, right?
Oh yeah. I'll still ask beforehand though.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. But I've stopped.
come and
I've stopped.
join.
Yeah, but I stopped sending people invitations. I mean,
If they want to join, they'll join.
yeah, it's a little bit double because obviously everyone is welcome and all that. I just don't want to keep asking people, and then sometimes they should join and sometimes they don't. And then, yeah, sorry I didn't come. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're welcome to come, but no one is obligated to join. I mean, it's double. I'm really not that good at this social media thing, that's for sure. Anywho, my longest on Steam is probably Left 4 Dead. Yeah, Mountain Blades, that's a good game for playing a lot. Anyway, maybe guys, it's a good time to call it quits. You want to say anything to piss off the audience?
You're all a bunch of cunts.
Ludicrous, any last words?
Always leave them wanting more.
Always leave them wanting more. Well, in that case, next week there's something more. I'm thinking about trying to set up a stream about cognitive dissonance.